Have you ever sat at a dinner table surrounded by your family, hearing laughter, conversations, the sound of life happening all around you, and yet inside you feel completely alone? Not because people are missing, but because something deeper is that quiet feeling is something many people over 60 experience. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. Loneliness doesn't always come from being alone. Sometimes it comes from feeling unseen, unheard, or no longer truly needed. Today, we're going to explore why this happens and what it really means gently, honestly, and without judgment. The first reason is something many people don't notice at first: a gradual loss of purpose. For most of your life, you were needed in clear, meaningful ways. You raised children. You made decisions. You solved problems. People depended on you. Your days had structure. Your role had weight. But over time, that role begins to shift. Your children grow older. They build their own families. They make their own choices. And without anyone saying it out loud, your place in the center slowly changes. Walter, 75, once described this feeling quietly. "I used to be the one everyone came to," he said. "Now I just sit and listen." His family still loves him. They respect him, but no one asks for his advice anymore. And in that silence, something begins to fade. Not love, but purpose. And when purpose fades, loneliness often follows. The second reason is a lack of deep, meaningful conversation. You may speak with your family every day, but how often do you feel truly heard? Not just answered, but understood. Today's world moves quickly. Conversations are shorter. Attention is divided. Phones ring. Screens glow. Moments pass. Linda, 68, once shared something that stayed with me. "My daughter talks to me every day," she said, "but we don't really connect anymore." She misses the long conversations they once had about life, about feelings, about meaning. Now, most conversations feel rushed. And when connection becomes shallow, loneliness can quietly take its place. Because loneliness is not about how many people you talk to. It's about how deeply you feel seen. The third reason is something many seniors carry silently: unspoken emotions. As we grow older, we experience more loss than we often realize. Friends pass away. Life changes. Familiar routines disappear. But instead of sharing these feelings, many choose to keep them inside. Not because they don't want to share, but because they don't want to burden others. George, 80, lost his closest friend of 40 years. When his son asked how he was doing, he smiled and said, "I'm okay." But later, sitting alone, he whispered, "I just miss having someone who remembers my life." That kind of loss is hard to explain. And when feelings remain unspoken, they don't disappear. They settle quietly and often turn into loneliness. The fourth reason is the feeling of being left behind by time. The world today is not the same world you grew up in. Technology moves fast. Language changes. Culture shifts. Sometimes it feels like everything is moving forward, except you. Eleanor, 73, once said, "I sit with my grandchildren, but I don't understand their world. They are kind. They love her. But the gap between their experiences creates a quiet distance. And that distance can feel isolating. Not because you don't belong, but because you no longer feel fully connected to the world around you." The fifth reason is the loss of independence. Even when family members care deeply, needing help can feel difficult. Simple things, driving, managing tasks, making decisions, may begin to change. And while support is given with love, it can sometimes feel like control. Henry, 82. Share this honestly. My family takes care of everything for me now, he said, but I miss choosing things for myself. That sense of control, of direction, is deeply tied to dignity. And when it begins to fade, it can create a quiet emotional distance, even in the presence of others. The sixth reason is something very simple, yet very powerful. Time. Modern life is busy. Even in loving families, people are often occupied. Work, responsibilities, distractions. Moments together become shorter. Attention becomes divided. Susan, 69, lives in the same house as her son and grandchildren. They're always around, she says, but rarely with me. She spends most of her day alone, even in a full home. Loneliness, in this case, doesn't come from absence. It comes from a lack of shared presence. If you've ever felt this way, please understand something important. There is nothing wrong with you. These feelings are not a sign of weakness. They're a natural response to change, to time, to the quiet shifts that come with life. And most importantly, there's something that can be understood and gently changed. Take a moment now and reflect honestly. Have you ever felt alone, even when your family was nearby? Which part of this spoke to you the most? Was it the silence, the distance, or the feeling of no longer being needed? We would truly value hearing your thoughts. Please share in the comments below. Your story matters more than you may realize, and it may help someone else feel less alone. If this video brought you comfort or understanding, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who might need it today. Your support allows us to continue creating content that speaks to the heart, quietly, honestly, and with care. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.